Well, there goes JV. So the Nuggets have no centers. We'll talk about what they could do about it, if anything. Plus, let me know if you want to play center for the Denver Nuggets. This is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being an everyday or making us your first listen. We do appreciate you guys joining us on whatever platform that you've chosen. We're glad to have you. You can join us on podcast at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also catch us at youtube.com/Locked On Nuggets. Glad to have you guys with us. My name's Matt Moore. I've been a credential reporter covering the Denver Nuggets for 14 seasons, from CBS Sports to the Action Network to Locked On Nuggets. I'm on Locked On NBA Daily, and I write for several publications, including the Denver Dig, where if you're part of our Everydayer Club, you've got an in-depth breakdown of what I see as kind of the Nuggets' pathway to getting out of this stretch of games without Nikola Jokic. This is written before the JV injury, which we'll talk about today, but it's going to lead into why the Raptors win was such a big deal. You can read that if you subscribe and being everydayer. It's on my Denver Dig as well as in the Supercast for all of our everydayers. You can read that over there. Okay, on today's show, we will take open call. I need your stats. In the comments at youtube.com/Locked On Nuggets. I want your height, your weight, and your vertical, what your strength is, and why you feel you are best suited to play center for the Denver Nuggets, because they're going to need you. The Nuggets announced, I'm dead serious. I want your stats in there. Drop them for me in the comments at YouTube. In the game versus the Raptors, Jonas Valanciunas leaves the game early with a calf injury. He told Michael Grange, who used to cover him when he was with the Raptors, has a really good relationship with Michael. Michael's a great writer, that he, quote, felt a pop. That's bad. Left in a walking boot. The Nuggets announced today that he's been diagnosed with a calf strain. He will miss 4 weeks. So if you're keeping track, no Aaron Gordon for at least, I would say, 2 more weeks. No Christian Braun for any day. I think Christian's going to get upgraded to questionable. No Cam Johnson for probably at least another 4 weeks. No Nikola Jokic for at least another 4 weeks. No Jonas Valanciunas for probably 5 to 6 weeks. Cool. Awesome. Great. Absolutely terrific. There is the Googer Geiger says, I'm 5'10", 170, Mexican that plays dirty defense. Deathbringer says, height 5'4", wingspan 5'5", 100 pounds, Indian, reason need another foreign center. Daniel K says, I have an 8-inch vert, almost 6 foot 250. I'm not injured. That's my skill. Sounds good. You're in the finals here. 42 Ultra says 6 foot 000 minus 30 in 0 minutes. Makes Zeke look like an NBA. That's mean. Bobby, that's what Weasel says. 6'1", 200. Good defender, but I jump like Jokic. Mr. D1 Juan 321. 5'10" Mexican is better than Zeke. That's mean. Stop it. Zeke's a good, nice guy. He's always been a nice kid. HK Doug says 6'3", 245 pounds, down from 325. Way to go, man. Maybe a 20-inch vert, but I can deadlift 405, squat 325, and run a sub 1 hour 10K. I'll use all 6 fouls. I'll pass your name along, man. I will go again and get this out of the way. Swipa texted me tonight in our group text and was like, Matt, you have to apologize for saying all teams go through this with incense. He said, I don't have any incense. I will tell you, you're not the most injured team I've seen. I've seen more injured teams. This is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Being out 4 starters and both of your position players at one possession because you only have 2 centers is pretty devastating. It's pretty bad. The options are not great. So I looked up a SPO track. I was like, all right, who's available that's on like the free agents market that never got picked up? And for 2025 NBA free agents that played on a team last year and were available, one of them was DeAndre Jordan, who signed with Pelicans. Another one was Taj Gibson. Moses Brown was with the Nuggets in training camp. He is with the Gold, and he is their second leading rebounder behind Duran. I don't have any sense from the organization of how they feel about Duran. I haven't talked to any in the organization, honestly, in a while. And so, like, I don't have, like, a good sense of, like, if they feel like Moses is, like, part of, like, somebody they might call up. It's the most familiar name. One of the problems is, like, the leading rebounder, that's what you're really looking for here. Like, if you're looking for anything, the starting place is just, like, can you grab a rebound? Because that's where they're going to get killed the most. Even with Duran starting at center, who was, Duran was great in his debut. They're going to get killed in the glass. They just don't have the size. And so, okay, who can rebound? Well, the leading rebounder in the G League is Oscar Tshiebwe, who is signed to a contract with the Utah Jazz and is like 6'8", 6'6", maybe. So like those options just are not present. There are not good options. Everyone's going to want to trade, right? Like you got to do something. A couple things here. You got to think about more than this month. Okay. I am on like torn a little bit on this because yes, you got to chase seeding. Yes, you don't want to slip too far. However, you're going to get healthier, which is going to make you a better team, even if you're worse at center, even if you just don't have any answer at center. If you're just like throwing out Duran and Zeke for 48 minutes. Even if that's the case, okay, you could still probably steal enough games to get you through this. Like JV is really honestly not the difference in whether or not you win the number of games, which I'll get to later, or not. And JV's played great this season. I think JV's been a great addition to the team. It hurts that he's not out there. It makes everything worse. But you're likely to get Christian back in the next 10 days. You're likely to get CB back or Aaron back in the next 14 days. You're likely to get Cam back in the next 21 to 28 days. And then you might be within range of Jokic. I want to note that Jokic was not in a walking boot. That was noted by Dr. Stutterer on Twitter, who's one of the Twitter docs, that he's not in a walking boot. That's really promising. I also found it very notable that David Adelman was like, when asked about Jokic cheering on the bench, was like, yeah, we might send him home. He might be with us on the rest of the trip. Like, that'll be something in consultation with me and John Wallace and Ben Tenzer and the medical staff and, of course, Nikola. I would just not be surprised if Nikola's like, nope, I'm staying. Screw you guys. I'm staying with the team. And like, I'm just not going to be surprised if he comes back sooner. I will continue to say this. Now, he may go longer. That's been my official position, is that he will come back sooner than 4 weeks, that he will return between 3.5 to 4 weeks. That's optimistic. I'm choosing to be optimistic. He could definitely, it could be 4 weeks and then 2 weeks of ramp up for conditioning until he returns after the All-Star break. If he does, the Nuggets are well and truly pretty screwed. Like, they can get where they need to go in this stretch before the end of the month. The problem really literally is those first 2 weeks in February. Those 2 weeks in February are brutal. And if they don't have Nikola for any of those games, those are going to be like loss. But I thought they were going to lose the Raptors game. I thought they had a 30% chance of winning that game yesterday, and they won it. We'll talk about why that was so big soon. Jonas, obviously, like, it hurts. It hurts from a scoring perspective and a rebound perspective and a screen perspective and a knowing what's going on perspective and a hub perspective. Like, there's nothing good. Like, there's no upside here. It's just all bad. I think I'll tell you on the other side why you got to be real careful about trade options and why it's probably going to be something that the front office will be reluctant to do, which will, of course, then turn around. They'll probably make a trade tomorrow. But we'll talk about the why not to make a trade coming up on the other side on Locked On Nuggets. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. And that's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. I'm doing date night here in a few weeks with my wife. And of course, if I'm going to take my wife on date night, as well as part of my Christmas gift, I'm taking her to an Avs game because the Avalanche pretty good. Pretty good, the Avalanche. And she definitely wants to go see him this season. She's optimistic, and she hasn't been optimistic about the Avs since they won the title. So we're going to use Game Time. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Denver, and I'm going to take her to, don't tell her. She sometimes listens to the show, but sometimes doesn't. So I'm going to guess that she doesn't. I'm going to take her to a bunch of bookstores because she loves books. And then I'm going to take her, and then we're going to get Game Time tickets the day of, because you can grab great deals right up until the event starts. And so that's what we're going to do. Because if there's one thing my wife loves more than the Avalanche, way more than me, it's saving money. And so we're going to get great tickets, and we're going to be able to see the view from the seats. So we know we're going to get good tickets. We got zone deals that are going to unlock great seats at even better value. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time like I am. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making this part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us here. Want to let you know about the Everydayers Club that you're going to want to sign up for. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thank you for making us the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. But if you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Nuggets, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. You get in our Discord. We're in there live chatting during the games. It's phenomenal. Hurricane's in there, been hanging out with us. You get Chris has been in there. It's been terrific. Go check out the Discord. It's going to be a great community as we build that up. You're going to want to join it. Also, as I mentioned, you got like a complete analysis on the schedule until Nikola gets back. I'm going to post a Christian Braun scouting report when Christian gets upgraded to questionable. It's going to break down his strengths, his weaknesses, all that kind of stuff. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff for our everydayers. So we do appreciate you guys joining up for that. Okay. Here's the deal with the trade. One, front offices almost always prefer to do deals out of opportunity, not desperation. Whenever anybody's like, they need to make a trade, you're going to notice that team doesn't do a deal. They almost never do a deal if everyone is like, they need to make a trade or they got to make a trade to save their season. You can't do that because walking into a room with another party to negotiate a deal when the other side's like, I know you need this more than I do. You're never going to come out with the kind of deal you're just going to get taken. And so, the Nuggets are bereft of trade options. We've talked about that a lot. Even if they were to partner Zeke Naji, Julian Strother, and the swaps, you're still probably not going to come away with a center that is going to be what you're looking for, because you cannot make a deal that is just for a month. You cannot make a trade for a 4-week player. You can go try and find somebody, whether it's like a guy sitting at home or somebody out of the G League, which I continue to think is probably the best option, is go find somebody in the G League who you like. Go find somebody who is available, that is not under contract, and get that player. If you do offer up like, hey, we'll offer you a heavily protected future second-round pick, you can probably go grab a developmental 2-way prospect off of one of these teams. That's who you should go do. Just find somebody who is 6'10" or taller and go with that route. You start Duran and then you go the other ways there. I don't think what you want to do is like offer up to Brooklyn, Peyton Watson, a swap. They probably want 2 swaps minimum for Daron. Like Daron, they're going to want a first-round pick. By the way, I have thought about the hilarity that would ensue if it's Daron and Duran. I have thought about this a lot. But I just don't think that that's probably the right thing. In part because, like, you don't have minutes for him. Like, you're going to play Joker 37 minutes in meaningful games. You're going to play him 33 in a pretty good one. And you're going to play JV when he comes back the rest of the time. You don't have the minutes for him. It's great to have the insurance policy, but you can't spend 2 swaps on that, especially when Zeke's going to be a $12 million expiring next year. Like that I think is the idea. By the way, I have seen a lot of these things. I think Dwight Howard is available. LOL. Like some people are half joking and some people are half serious. Andrew Coger says Jaylen Smith, maybe. Can he play 4 with JV? The problem is the Bulls don't do trades. They just don't do them. And they're definitely not going to trade Jaylen, who's actually been really good for them. I wish they would. Like, I would probably offer Peyton Watson, Zeke Najee's contract, and the 2 swaps for Io and Jaylen Smith. Like, I think that makes you better. Right? You lose Peyton, who has been had the big game in Toronto, right? Like, has had a really good season, but you basically give Peyton this opportunity to be like, hey, you get to go play on a team off the bench where you're going to actually get the ball and you're going to play an up-tempo style and get to improve your value, and they might be in a better position to pay you. But I think you got to make the decision of basically, are you sure that you want Cam Johnson, or would you rather have Peyton Watson? If so far throughout this process, you're like, I think I'd rather have Peyton Watson on a long-term deal. Okay, then you're going to trade Cam Johnson this summer and you're going to re-sign Peyton. But to me, like, that's the only way you're going to be able to get a player of Jaylen Smith's caliber. And yes, you can play him at 4, and yes, you can play him with Jokic, and yes, he is the exact type of rim protection 4 that I've been saying they need to go get. But like, the cost is going to be high. You're talking about losing your second best defender in Peyton Watson behind CB, third behind AG. It's tough. Ooh, Googer Geiger with a throwback. Let's bring back Joffrey. Oh, the Joffrey days. Oh, man. Koger asked about the Dean Wade, Brett Siegel report. Wade can't play 5. That doesn't solve your short-term problem. Like, it'd be a good ad, but Dean Wade can't be your 5. Can't do it. You can't bring in Dean Wade to play 5 for you. Can't do it. So you have to kind of like navigate this through this kind of stretch. And like, honestly, this is in large part why the Raptors win mattered. Okay. I broke this down on the Denver Dig and for everydayers, but I'll give you the gist of it here. What you want to do, I'm projecting Jokic to miss 14 games. Okay. Could be 17, could be 25. Let's say that it's 14. Let's say I'm right and it's 14 games. You need to go 5-9. If you go 5-9 and the other Western Conference teams keep pace, right? Some of them will probably get better. Some of them will probably get worse. They'll probably have bad Januaries, even if they're healthy, or they'll have injury trouble just like Denver, right? But if everything stayed static, every team in the West just kept winning at the same rate they're going, which is unlikely given the Lakers' recent trend, which is unlikely given the number of factors. Like, Houston's probably going to win more games, right? But if they just keep playing like this and the Nuggets go 5-9, which I have them projected, like I actually sat down and did the math. And based off of my numbers and my projections, without these guys, based off of CB coming back next week, AG coming back the week after, and nobody else coming back. Now, I haven't done the Valanciunas adjustment. Based off of that, I had them at 5.5 wins, 8.5 losses. So I rounded down. I was like, all right, let's go 5-9. Okay. At 5-9 over this stretch, that puts them 3 games back of Houston in the loss column when we get through all this. 4 games. Sorry. 4 games. I had it wrong the first time. 4 games behind Houston in the loss column. That is enough to catch up. With the schedule that they have in March, if they can win some freaking home games, that's enough for them to catch up. Like, that is with a conservative estimate by me on both when Christian Braun returns, when Aaron Gordon returns, and their winning percentage, which again did not factor in the JV injury. But quite honestly, I'm going to be really real with you. JV is probably not going to move my numbers all that much. It's definitely a cluster injury, and it does matter. Again, they're not going to be able to rebound at all, or screen, or finish plays, or have any sort of structure to their offense. But still, there's like a really good opportunity here. And that's why the Raptors win mattered, because I had that as a loss. Like, I had that as a 33% chance to win that game. Missing 4 starters. So converting that to a 1, now they got the rest of this way, they got to go 4-10. Or 4-9, I'm sorry. And that's just like, it gets a little bit easier. Every loss that you get, you're able to steal. And every one that you steal makes it a little bit easier. Like, they bought themselves a couple games here. They bought themselves a game where they probably might be able to win versus Washington or Charlotte, where their win percentage is higher. They can lose that game now because they took the Raptors game. And that to me is like pretty good. This is actually not a bad option. Andrew Koger, he's the MVP of the chat tonight, says microball. Trey Lyles, he's still out there. That's interesting. Genuinely kind of interesting. I don't know if he's overseas or not, but kind of interesting. Coming up, I'm going to tell you why two of the starters who aren't Nikola Jokic are the players that the Nuggets need to be most careful with. We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Pretty good value right now still on the Denver Broncos for them to come out of the Super Bowl. Nuggets dropped in their odds because that's what happens when a player gets injured. Is their odds dropped a little bit to win the Western Conference and to win the title? Great buy low spot. I'm actually like, if they lose more games, I'm going to it's going to be a buy spot for the Nuggets. Absolutely. Opening the FanDuel app during happy hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 to 6:30, 4 to 5:30. There we go. 4 to 5:30 Mountain. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Okay, there's been a lot of concern about Jamal and how banged up he is. And so I'm kind of two minds about this. On the one, thanks for joining us on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making this part of your day, being an everydayer. On the one, I agree. Like, it doesn't make any, like, what good is it? Let's say Jamal continues to play like an all-star here throughout the stretch, and he leads them to a much better record than expected. He does the thing. And every devoted, hardcore Nuggets fan since 2019 with an IAC in their name says, finally, he's actually carrying the team like he should. It's going to have a cumulative effect. I talked a lot about this in 2021 and 22, where 22 especially. Will Barton had to shoulder a higher than of his like ability weight early in the season offensively. Jokic was still starting slow then. And by March, Will was toast and never recovered. Like, his career never recovered after it. He was done. Like, he gave everything to try and keep that team up, and then he had nothing left. And this happens sometimes with guys where I've seen it, where guys have to really press themselves during injury and they push the body a little too far. And I don't think it's going to happen with Jamal, but it is something to keep an eye on. I do think down 4 starters, you have to make tactical decisions about but this is a big one. If you have enough guys available to play the game, available to play the game, I do think you have to make certain tactical decisions about, hey, we can't probably win this game. We need to punt it and rest Jamal and then try and go after this game. You have to be selective about the games that you attack in the stretch. Not totally, because like the Raptors is one where it's like, look, you're in Toronto, who's been a pretty good team this year. They're above 500, right? You're on the road. It's a bad matchup. This should be really tough, and they got the win. So you don't know, but you should kind of look at the schedule and at least have a little bit of a mindset on that. On the other hand, I am kind of like, this is Jamal's choice. Like, Jamal gets to choose this, and Jamal's going to choose to fight. Like, Jamal has been the leader that the Nuggets have needed this season. He was a leader in preseason, getting everybody together for workouts. He was a leader in training camp, setting the tone. He's been a leader on the court this season with his scoring and his playmaking, having his best season of his career. Like, he gets to make that choice. Yes, I have been watching Stranger Things this season. This is absolutely like Jamal gets to make that choice. And if he's like, no, I'm playing, it's tough, I don't care, I will get myself ready for the playoffs when we get everybody back. Because you can do that. If they manage the stretch better than all of us expect, which, by the way, some people were like, they're not going to win in a single game. And I was like, that's crazy. This is the NBA. Quote unquote bad teams, which the Nuggets without 4 starters are expected to be a bad team. Like, should be, the bad teams win all the time. Like, this is just, it's a variable, variance-filled regular season. Hurricane, 6 foot 240, can set a screen and fight. I can take out any opposing star with a headbutt and even the game. Right? Not bad. So Andrew says Jamal should be arrested versus Philly or Boston. Boston's probably one of the better ones. Like, Boston is absolutely a game where I would be like, maybe not. I mean, they're not exactly loaded at center, but Cato's played really well. Marfat Sports says, I'd rather Jamal play good at the end. Yeah. This is my big concern. And it's from Alva to Jello. I'm scared of AG playing the 5 as soon as he comes back. That's my concern. This is not the way. Okay? This is not the way. When AG comes back, he needs to play the 4 next to Deron Holmes. When AG comes back, he does not need to play backup center. It's got to be Zignaji or whoever they add if they add somebody. That's it. That's it, man. If they might start Zeke and bring Deron off the bench. I don't think they should, but they might do that. AG can do it, but the toll is not worth it. That is not... AG knows, and AG would probably say if it was a problem, but AG is also like, he's tough and he's selfless and he wants to do the right thing by the team, and he especially wants to do the right thing by Nikola. However, having seen him after these games and then talk to him after these games and talk to him after he's had to play center, like, it's a lot. And it's not that it's too much for him to handle. It's just like, I don't know if it's worth it. I would be really concerned with it, and I would not want to go ahead and put him at the 5. You put him at the 5 at the playoffs and the playoffs only. Roshahama says, so where's the season go now? And Noam says the play-in. I'm telling you, they're not going to be in the play-in, guys. They're not going to be in the play-in. You really need to think about how small a stretch this is, because it looks really bad because it's so many games. If I'm wrong and Joker's out till All-Star, then yeah, you're going to be in the play-in. I'll tell you that. If Joker's out till All-Star, you're going to be in the play-in tournament. But it might be by like a game. I did the numbers, and based off of the numbers that I have, you would be projected in 6th with a conservative viewpoint of the returns of Christian Braun, Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, and Nikola Jokic if he comes back in 4 weeks flat. Okay? You would be in 6th then, but that's if everybody continues. Again, I would just tell you, you have a 4-game lead on the play-in tournament right now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, because versus when I said that you can catch the Rockets 4 games back, it's because the fully healthy Nuggets win at a rate that is so much higher. You have to think about, if you fall to 6, the Suns, who win at a 57% pace and that's been tailing off, right? They're slowly kind of dipping. It gets worse and worse. Now, the problem, I think, is the Warriors, who won, their schedule lightens up. They had a really tough opening schedule. And 2, like, they're in trade conversations for MPJ, and which wouldn't that be fun? And Anthony Davis and all these things, where it's like the Warriors might make a trade and get better, and they might jump you. But at the same time, if you fall behind the Lakers and the Timberwolves, there's no reason to think that a fully healthy Denver team doesn't pass those teams again. You're not in as bad of a situation as it looks like. And I was like trying to be pessimistic when I went into the analysis. Again, if he's out 6 weeks and I'm wrong, which is entirely possible, then you are in trouble. If he's out till All-Star, I don't know what you do, because that early April schedule is so freaking brutal that I can't, even with, if I'm like, well, you know, these teams do get caught. Like, yeah, you might win one, but it's rough. But if Joker gets back for that last week of January, I think you're fine. I think you can still get a 4 seed. I think you'll likely wind up in the 4-5. I don't think San Antonio is going to tail off, and I don't think Houston's going to tail off. You can catch them if you get the home court stuff figured out and you just absolutely roll through March with all of these home games. You absolutely can get yourself back into contention for a 3 seed. But the win versus the Raptors does fundamentally change these things, because, like I said, you need to go 5-9 if Joker's out 14 games for you to be able to be within striking distance. Now it's 4-9. Like, it's 20% of the total that you needed. Every one of these things that you do gets you into a much better position. I understand the perspective of, what's the point if Jamal gets hurt and he's worn out? What's the point of it? You could rest Jamal prohibitively and he could still be worn out. He could still get hurt. Like, this is sports and this is the reality. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. So this one, what about facing the Thunder as the 8th seed? You don't want to go through 3 rounds on the road. I will give you the numbers again. 2 teams in NBA history have won the title as more than the 3 seed. The 1969 Boston Celtics, let's see, 57 years ago, and the 1995 Houston Rockets. Now, a nice bit of trivia there is that both of those teams were teams that have won a title within the previous 3 seasons. The Rockets won it the year before. I don't know when the Celtics won, but they won a bunch of titles in the 60s. So, like, if you're going to do it, you better have had championship experience. Denver can go on the road and they can win 3 series. The problem is just, like, it wears you down. In my opinion, probably what would happen if you got, let's say that you told me they wound up lower than a 4 seed. They were a 5, 6, 7, or 8 seed, but they made the finals. I would tell you that's an awesome run, and they probably lose in the finals very badly. And this team is at a point where their goal has to be higher. You can't, even as bad as this is right now, with no centers, no power forwards, no hope, no change, no dreams, pets' heads flying off, even as bad as this looks, you can't abandon the end-all goal, which is not to make the finals, not to go deep in the playoffs. It's to win a championship. So you gotta look at everything within that context. I think you're going to be okay. This is going to get really interesting without JV. It's just going to be weird and wild, and you're going to talk about it. Like, people will talk about it. Remember that month where they didn't have any centers? This team is still awesome. They will get everybody back. It will start within the next week when CB comes back. That will help. When Aaron Gordon comes back, that will help immensely. When Cam Johnson comes back, that will help. When Nikola Jokic comes back, that's pretty important. That will be a good day. Think about how good that day is going to be when Jokic is upgraded questionable, and you read that online and we talk about it on the show. Think about how good that's going to be. Hang in. Stay with us. We'll be with you after the game. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm pretty sure Boom and Gloom is doing a show tomorrow on Friday. I want to wish you guys a very happy new year, 2026. Let's have it be better than 2025. Let us know, again, I want your stats and strengths, why you should be the starting center for the Denver Nuggets, in the comment section. Make sure to go check out Ryan's work at Mile High Sports. We'll see you guys again next time here on Locked On Nuggets. Oof. What bad luck. I can't play center. I'm soft.